Hey guys, I'm here to talk to you about my mountain bike, my Trek Marlin 5 hardtail mountain bike. This is a mountain bike that's kind of an all-arounder, just for trails. It doesn't really jump a lot, uh, doesn't really do a hell of a lot. This is just kind of an in-between all-arounder bike. First thing I have to say about it, don't buy it. These bikes are kind of dumb. They're equipped decently, but the frame is really out of date. Now, I don't know what the fuck Trek was thinking, but they decided with this bike that on the current generation, this is a 2021, or no, 2022, sorry, that they were going to take out, like remove the dropper post routing, so there is nothing there to run your dropper post through, which if you don't know what one is, it's a little lever thing, puts your seat down, makes it easier to get on and off the bike or go downhill, so your seat's not in the way. Nice convenience to have, but they decided to remove that, so you just don't get that. You have to spend more. The other thing makes this frame kind of stupid is the straight steer head tube. This really limits what forks you can put on this bike. Now, the fork that came with this bike was Sun Tour XCT30, and that fork was just a pile of crap. It must have weighed like 7 pounds, and it really didn't compress for me at all. Lockout on and off didn't really seem to make much of a difference. So I've put on this RockShox Judy Silver air fork, which is a lot lighter, a lot better, and much more adjustable. Way happier with that. I didn't really hesitate on that. It was about a $300 upgrade. I'd recommend just buying a bike that has that also has a tapered head tube for more rigidity, more frame strength, because this fork isn't going to be going off this bike onto something else, because something else I'm going to buy tapered. So one of the first upgrades besides the fork I did was the seat. This is just kind of a generic $30 gel seat. Seat that came with it seriously gave me hemorrhoids. Like, I gave up on trying to not have my ass hurt after even a half-hour ride. Gave up, bought the seat. One of the biggest improvements I could do. The other bit is this drivetrain. It came as a 16 speed, so 2 cogs on the front and 8 on the back. And that setup, I was not very happy with it. I actually picked that over a Marlin 6 because I figured I would be using it on the flats a lot, and so I'd need the extra range. Boy, was I wrong. I could have totally bought a Marlin 6 and just put a different chainring on it, called it a day. What I've put on here is a 12-speed setup and 1151 tooth cassette with a 34 chain ring, which I think is a great setup because you get decent speed for flats. I usually find myself never using the granny gears up here. Like, these are pretty much unused, whereas the smaller ones I'm using quite often on flats. I do have a lot of hills in my town, but I tend to go fast, I guess. So maybe a 36 would have made sense. Some people were saying, oh, 32, you don't want to use that. You got to be like He-Man. You know, maybe put a 28 on there. And it just didn't make any sense to me, because why buy the 51 or 52 tooth cassette to, like, go walking speed, less than walking speed, while you're spinning your legs with that kind of setup. Like, the ratios are just crazy. I don't know why you would bother. Cassette itself is a Z-Race, like $35 cassette, sold under a million different brands. Sunshine, Sunrace, whatever. It's rebranded all over the place, but it was about 35 bucks, and the Shimano equivalent was about 130. I don't know why you would pay $100 extra for a cassette, but you have the option. It's the exact same weight as the Shimano, pretty much. There's no reason to buy it, as far as I can tell. Same with the chain. I got this KMC 12-speed chain, and it seems to be about the same as a Shimano. Maybe a bit louder, some people say. I really don't care. Derailleurs though, I did have to go Shimano. Mosquitoes are trying to eat me alive here. Damn it. But yeah, Dior stuff, definitely nice. I didn't hesitate to go to Shimano for shifters because they just have a nice clicky feel. You can go with the XT shifter, but I just went with the regular Dior shifter. I didn't really care about going up 2 gears at a time, shifting to a harder gear twice at a time. I'll just click it twice, like, don't really care that much. These grips, I've replaced the grips that came with it with these ODI Rogues, and these are much nicer. These are very meaty grips, very happy with them, no complaints. This crankset, I'm a big fan of this crankset for cheap upgrades. This crankset is Raceworks Aspire, and these use a Holotech 2 Shimano style bottom bracket, but they use GXP chain rings, so there's screws on the other side that mount the chain ring, and you can use SRAM chain rings with this crankset. But the actual SRAM cranksets with their bottom brackets are known to wear out prematurely on one end, so the Shimano technology, their style of bottom bracket is much better, and this combines the two. I think this is a better chainring mounting system. I did have to Loctite the screws to make them fit, to not go loose after a while, because after a while the ring would start wiggling about, and no matter how much I tighten them. So I did have to Loctite them, and they've been solid since. I replaced these pedals. I didn't really have to. I'm not really too picky with my pedals. These are Rock Bros nylon, much bigger than the pedals that came with it. Very happy with those. Those are about 35 bucks or whatever, pretty cheap. All the upgrades I've done on here have been pretty cheap, and they all have been pretty nice upgrades. But yeah, basically, don't buy this bike, buy something better. There's literally Walmart bikes that have tapered head tubes now, 1-speed drivetrains, dropper post routing, and they are hundreds of dollars cheaper, even half the price. So I don't really understand why this bike was $850. I definitely would have bought a Marlin 6, but unfortunately when I ordered this bike the shortages were on, and I was not allowed in the bike store because I would not wear a mask. So I had to buy the bike in the parking lot because the owners of that bike shop are all in on the fucking fake ass virus shit. It's really meant to retire the economy, but you know, people can join in on their fads all they want, whatever. Anyways, great bike. Could have been better. And if I had to do it again, probably buy a Kona Mahuna. Like, I'd probably put, you know, this drivetrain upgrade itself was probably about 250 bucks. And then the air fork itself is about $300, so $850 bike. Probably about $700 of upgrades. And I could have just bought a different bike. But I didn't know anything when I started. Now I know a little bit more. And don't make the mistakes I did. Don't buy a Marlin if you want a nice bike. Like, it's a good bike, I guess, but there's better. And that's all I really had to say, gays. I'm getting out of here before I fucking die from mosquitoes. And getting out of this shithole. This is like the worst spot. There's probably so many mosquitoes here. Bye.